Have you found any new challenges developing games nowadays that didn't exist back in the day?
I don't know. I feel like I feel like anything you gotta. It's hard to keep doing it right because you try as a composer. I try to get better. I'm sure me and Dave are the same. We try to get better at what we do. I get to do better orchestration, get more fancy and flashy, and trying to sound like Harry Potter. But ironically, I feel like when you have a profile on Spotify, you can claim your artist profile, so you can see what people are playing if your music right. All the things that I think are really fantastically orchestrated and really amazing, and no one's played and listened to those. But all the stuff that I think is not irrelevant, that's top of the charts, right? So I think that as a composer, you might spend lots of time trying to get better at what you do, but realistically, people just like simple tunes that you wrote 20 years ago, and you need to not forget how to do that.
DK rap.
Yeah, obviously DK rap, unfortunately. So I do think that sometimes you can get lost in the minutiae and try to be better technically, but is it actually better musically? And I think I have to keep reminding myself that it probably isn't. It probably impresses other composers, but nobody else, which is a waste of time. So.
I think the biggest challenge is if somebody's, like with Tropical Freeze, we needed it to sound like the original, but if you made it sound like the original, it would sound completely disappointing. And it takes an awful lot of processing power and plugins and a lot of things that you have to do extra to make it sound as people think they hear it, because we all have rose-tinted spectacles when we either look at artwork or we hear tunes. We hear things, we remember them far better than they actually were. So to do something now that sounds like it just takes a whole lot more processing, and it's a different thought process. So that's a real challenge, I think.
Yeah, and also we used to create our own little sample sets, right? So we'd have our own little MIDI orchestra on the cartridge that the MIDI files played, right? So you had a limited sound set, and that was it. There was no more. Like now, when you think, I can do with the bass sound. You got like 8,000 bass sounds and a synth to go through. And you just go, which one do I choose? They all sound fantastic. You like just because back in the day we had no choice, did we? It was like you got one bass sound, you have to use it for everything. That's it. So in a way, it was like, and I really feel like people from our day, it's a long time ago, know how to write a good tune. I feel sometimes these days you can put your finger on a synth and you just get this great huge swathe of sound that sounds amazing, and you can make things sound fantastic but unremarkable. So lots of times I go see movies these days, look at this great, epic, fantastically sounding, amazing score, but it's completely unremarkable. I walk out the theatre, I can't remember a note of it.
Right.
And like I think when we were always told by Tim and Chris, you need to write a tune that people can remember and don't get sick of it after hearing it 8 billion times, right? So
part of that though was because the technology that we had was so limited, we had to listen to things over and over again.
Yeah.
And so if we got bored with it, we'd soon change it. So that was probably a good way of working. And I think it's probably a thing that a lot of composers might want to adopt today, that they listen to their own music over and over and over again. We had no choice to do that.
No.
We had to listen to it, and because of that, you do jettison a lot of ideas quite quickly.